Hi everyone, welcome to English Story School, where we unlock the magic of language through captivating stories that inspire and enhance your English learning journey. Have you ever felt like you're pushing against an invisible wall, struggling to make progress in life? Picture this. Sarah, a talented artist, spends countless hours pouring her heart into her paintings. Yet each time she showcases her work, she feels overlooked, as if her creations vanish into the void. Frustration and defeat weigh heavily on her shoulders, leaving her to wonder if her dreams will ever become a reality. This feeling of struggle is something we can all relate to, whether in our careers, relationships, or personal growth. But what if I told you there's a way to break through that wall and start thriving instead? In today's video, we're diving into a comprehensive guide on how to stop struggling and start flourishing. To begin, let's understand that struggle often stems from fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, and even fear of success. These fears can paralyze us, making us feel stuck just like Sarah. She's pouring her heart into her passion, yet it feels like she's going nowhere. So, how do we shift this mindset? The first step to breaking free from struggle is redefining our relationship with failure. Traditionally, failure is viewed as the ultimate villain in our stories, lurking in the shadows, ready to thwart our dreams. But what if we could flip that narrative? Instead of seeing failure as a dead end, what if we viewed it as a stepping stone toward success? Let's return to Sarah. After her first gallery show, she received minimal interest in her paintings. It would have been easy for her to spiral into despair, to see this rejection as proof that her art wasn't good enough. But imagine if she chose to view that experience differently. Instead of internalizing it as a personal failure, she could frame it as an opportunity for growth. Each rejection could serve as a valuable lesson. Maybe her work needed a different style, a new technique, or a more compelling narrative. Now picture Sarah standing before her canvas, not just as a creator, but as a scientist experimenting in a lab. Each brushstroke becomes an experiment, and each piece of feedback is data to analyze. By adopting this mindset, she transforms the act of creating from a pressure-filled task into an engaging exploration. Mistakes. They're not failures. They're insights guiding her evolution as an artist. When we embrace failure as feedback, we allow ourselves to refine our craft. It means taking a step back after a setback and asking, what can I learn from this? Perhaps Sarah discovers her color choices were too muted for her intended audience, or maybe she realizes her marketing strategy needs work. Each revelation becomes a tool to sharpen her skills and hone her vision. Shifting your perspective can transform frustration into a thrilling journey of growth. Picture this. Instead of dreading each day, you wake up with excitement, ready to tackle challenges. Each obstacle becomes an opportunity to uncover valuable lessons and insights. For Sarah, this mindset change means approaching her art with genuine curiosity rather than fear. Every canvas transforms into a new chapter of her story, a blank space filled with potential waiting to be explored. Each brushstroke is not just an attempt at perfection, but an adventure that brings her closer to her artistic vision. Critiques, once seen as harsh judgments, now serve as invaluable guides, pointing her toward the next steps in her creative evolution. This renewed outlook fuels her passion, making the process of creating art as rewarding as the finished piece itself. With each challenge she embraces, Sarah discovers hidden treasures of wisdom that enhance her skills and deepen her understanding of herself as an artist. This journey is not just about creating beautiful pieces, it's about the excitement of growth, learning, and continuous exploration. This mindset shift isn't just applicable to artists, it can transform anyone's journey. Whether you're starting a new business, pursuing a fitness goal, or navigating personal relationships, seeing setbacks as stepping stones can redefine your entire experience. You begin to celebrate your efforts, not just the outcomes. Resilience builds through these experiences, and each challenge makes you stronger. So, let's take a page from Sarah's story. Instead of allowing failure to deter us, let's embrace it. Let's use it as a compass guiding us through the unknown, helping us carve out paths we might never have discovered otherwise. When we view our struggles through this lens, they cease to be obstacles and instead become essential parts of our growth journey, each setback a lesson, each failure a stepping stone. This transformative perspective not only fuels our passion, but ignites a sense of purpose in everything we do. By embracing failure, we unlock our true potential and set ourselves on a path of continuous growth and discovery. So, let's reframe our narrative, turning fear into fuel and setbacks into stepping stones. The adventure of growth awaits. Next, let's explore the art of setting realistic goals. It's easy to dream big. We all want to be the next big thing, whether that's a renowned artist like Sarah, a successful entrepreneur, or an athlete breaking records. But here's the catch. Lofty ambitions can feel like a double-edged sword. They inspire us, but can also weigh us down with immense pressure. In her eagerness to make a name for herself, Sarah initially aimed to achieve fame overnight. She envisioned her name in lights, galleries packed with admirers, her art celebrated worldwide. But instead of fueling her passion, this grand ambition became a source of frustration and anxiety. Imagine the weight of those expectations. Each day, Sarah would sit down at her easel, grappling with the enormity of her dreams. The desire to create something groundbreaking felt paralyzing. She was caught in a trap, the belief that her work must be extraordinary from the start. Yet, extraordinary is often born from a series of small, deliberate steps. This is where the power of breaking down goals into manageable milestones comes into play. Instead of striving to be a celebrated artist overnight, Sarah decided to set smaller, achievable goals. She committed to completing one painting a month. This shift transformed her creative process. Each month, she would focus on a single piece, dedicating time to experiment and enjoy her art without the pressure of perfection. As the first month closed, Sarah stepped back to admire her finished painting. It wasn't a masterpiece, but it was a significant achievement, a tangible representation of her dedication and growth. Instead of aiming for unattainable ideals, she celebrated the completion of that one painting, acknowledging her effort, resilience, and progress. Setting smaller milestones allowed Sarah to regain her motivation. Each completed painting became a building block, reinforcing her confidence and creativity. With every piece finished, she experienced a surge of accomplishment, fueling her desire to create more. She began to look forward to her art sessions, knowing that each brushstroke brought her closer to her larger dreams. These small victories act as powerful motivators. In a world that often rewards only big wins, it's crucial to recognize and celebrate smaller achievements. They maintain momentum, providing a sense of progress that keeps us engaged. For Sarah, each painting became a story of perseverance, a reflection of her journey filled with challenges, learnings, and triumphs. And let's not forget about the importance of reflecting on these milestones. After each painting, Sarah analyzed what she learned during the process, what techniques worked, what didn't. This reflection helped her refine her approach, setting her up for even greater success with the next piece. It became a cycle of continuous improvement, small goals leading to bigger aspirations, all grounded in realistic expectations. Whether you're embarking on a new project, pursuing a fitness journey, or tackling personal development, remember to set realistic, achievable goals. Break your larger ambitions into smaller milestones and celebrate each victory, no matter how small. These incremental successes build confidence and create a sense of purpose. With each step, you'll find that the journey becomes less about immediate results and more about the joy of progress. And before you know it, those small victories will pave the way to something extraordinary. In the end, success isn't just about the destination, it's about the journey, the growth, and the joy of becoming who you aspire to be. So, take a page from Sarah's book. Dream big, but start small, and relish every step along the way. Now let's explore the incredible power of community. Imagine Sarah feeling isolated in her artistic journey, working tirelessly in her studio, but struggling to find inspiration and motivation. She loved painting, but the loneliness of her creative process was starting to weigh on her. Then one day, while scrolling through social media, she stumbled upon a local art group that met weekly at a nearby cafe. Intrigued, she decided to take the plunge and attend one of their gatherings. From the moment she stepped into that vibrant space filled with canvases, colors, and enthusiastic chatter, Sarah felt a spark ignite within her. This wasn't just a room of strangers, it was a community of like-minded creatives, each with their own stories, struggles, and triumphs. In this environment, she was no longer just Sarah the solitary artist. She became part of a collective, sharing her passions and experiences with others who understood the highs and lows of the creative process. As she began to share her work with the group, something magical happened. The feedback she received was constructive and encouraging, opening her eyes to new perspectives. Instead of feeling judged or criticized, Sarah found herself in a space that celebrated creativity in all its forms. Fellow artists shared their own challenges and breakthroughs, and with each discussion, Sarah felt more empowered. She learned that everyone, regardless of their level of expertise, faced obstacles in their artistic journeys. This sense of belonging was transformative. Not only did it provide her with valuable insights into her work, but it also reignited her passion for art. The camaraderie within the group created an atmosphere of encouragement, where everyone cheered for one another's successes. When someone completed a painting or got accepted into a gallery show, the entire group would celebrate together. Those moments fostered a sense of connection and inspiration that fueled Sarah's own ambitions. Moreover, being surrounded by fellow creatives pushed Sarah to step out of her comfort zone. She began experimenting with new styles and techniques that she had previously shied away from. One week, a member of the group introduced a new medium, watercolors. Intrigued but hesitant, Sarah decided to give it a try. With the support and encouragement of her peers, she created a piece that not only surprised her but also expanded her artistic horizons. These interactions became a powerful reminder of the importance of collaboration over competition. In a world where it's easy to feel like you're in constant competition with others, this group provided a refreshing perspective. Sarah realized that art isn't just about individual achievement, it's about sharing, learning, and growing together. The friendships she built became a source of accountability as well. When she shared her monthly goals with the group, she felt a renewed sense of commitment to her craft. The connections Sarah formed extended beyond just artistic endeavors. The group became a support system that encouraged vulnerability. They shared their fears, frustrations, and personal stories, creating an environment where everyone felt safe to express themselves. This mutual understanding fostered a deep sense of trust, and in turn, Sarah felt more empowered to take risks with her art. As she continued to engage with this community, Sarah began to notice a shift, not just in her work, but in her overall outlook on life. She started approaching challenges with a more optimistic mindset. Whenever she faced setbacks, she could lean on her peers for support, turning moments of doubt into opportunities for growth. The group provided a wealth of knowledge and resources, from tips on techniques to recommendations for galleries and exhibitions. The transformative power of community also highlighted the importance of giving back. Inspired by the support she received, Sarah began mentoring newer members of the group. She shared her experiences, offering guidance and encouragement to those just starting their artistic journeys. This act of giving not only reinforced her own skills, but also deepened her connection to the group. In the end, Sarah's artistic journey flourished because of the community she surrounded herself with. They became more than just a group of artists. They became her tribe, an essential support network that propelled her forward, sparking creativity, providing constructive feedback, and inspiring her to pursue her dreams with renewed vigor. So, if you find yourself feeling stuck or alone in your journey, remember the power of community. Seek out like-minded individuals who share your passions and interests. Engage in local groups, online forums, or creative workshops. Surrounding yourself with others can create a nurturing environment that not only encourages growth, but also transforms struggles into shared experiences. Together, you can uplift, inspire, and achieve more than you ever could alone. The road to success is not just about individual talent, it's about the connections we forge along the way. And when we lift each other up, we all rise together. Finally, let's talk about the profound importance of practicing self-compassion. It's no secret that many of us can be our own worst critics. Picture Sarah again, sitting in her studio, paintbrush in hand, feeling the weight of her own expectations pressing down on her. After completing a piece, instead of celebrating her effort, she often focused on what was wrong with it. The colors weren't vibrant enough, the composition felt off, or perhaps it didn't convey the emotion she intended. This harsh inner dialogue drained her joy and enthusiasm for creating. Now imagine if Sarah shifted that perspective. Instead of viewing herself through a lens of criticism, she began to practice self-compassion. This transformation didn't happen overnight. It required mindfulness and intention, but once she made that conscious decision, everything began to change. Sarah learned to acknowledge her efforts, recognizing that every brushstroke was a step forward, a testament to her dedication and creativity. She began to tell herself, "It's okay. I'm learning. This is part of my journey." One of the most liberating realizations for Sarah was that it's perfectly okay to take breaks, to rest, and to recharge. In a society that often equates busyness with success, it's easy to fall into the trap of constant hustle. But Sarah discovered that stepping back didn't mean she was failing. Rather, it was an essential part of growth. On days when inspiration felt elusive, she allowed herself to take a walk, read a book, or simply enjoy a cup of tea. These moments of pause became sacred, helping her to reconnect with her creative energy. This mindset shift was pivotal. Instead of racing toward the finish line, Sarah began to savor the process of creating. She found joy in experimenting with new techniques, even if the results didn't meet her expectations. Each piece became a journey, a story that unfolded with each stroke of her brush. By focusing on the act of creation rather than the end result, she discovered a newfound freedom in her artistry. It was no longer just about achieving recognition or perfection. It was about expressing herself and enjoying the ride. Sarah also learned to reframe her thoughts around mistakes. Instead of berating herself for a painting that didn't turn out as she hoped, she started to see it as an opportunity for growth. Each misstep became a lesson, a chance to explore what she could do differently next time. This shift in perspective cultivated a nurturing environment within herself, allowing her to take risks without the fear of judgment. Self-compassion is a vital practice, especially during life's tougher moments. For Sarah, there were days when the weight of doubt felt almost unbearable. Picture her sitting in her studio, surrounded by half-finished canvases and tubes of paint, yet feeling like an imposter. Thoughts would creep in, whispering insidiously that perhaps she wasn't cut out for this after all. Maybe I should just give up, she'd think, her enthusiasm waning. But this is where self-compassion became her lifeline. On those challenging days, Sarah consciously chose to treat herself with the same kindness she would offer a close friend. Instead of harsh self-criticism, she turned inward and began to practice self-kindness. She reminded herself of her passion for painting, the joy she felt when she first dipped a brush into vibrant colors, the exhilaration of expressing her feelings on canvas. These moments of reflection helped her reconnect with the very reasons she fell in love with art in the first place. Sarah made it a habit to take a step back and reflect on her artistic journey. She began journaling, not just about her accomplishments, but also about her struggles. This practice allowed her to articulate her feelings, giving voice to her doubts and fears. As she wrote, she recognized that setbacks were a natural part of any creative process. It wasn't about erasing the doubt, but rather acknowledging it and understanding that it didn't define her worth or abilities. She also started to celebrate her progress, however small it seemed. Perhaps she completed a painting that didn't resonate as strongly as she'd hoped, but instead of focusing solely on its flaws, she'd reflect on the skills she had honed while creating it. She'd remind herself that every brushstroke contributed to her growth, each piece representing a step on her journey. In her journal, she began listing out these small victories, finishing a canvas, experimenting with a new technique, or even attending that local art group. These reminders became essential tools for her self-compassion practice. On particularly difficult days when the doubts loomed large, Sarah would take a moment to breathe deeply and remind herself of the passion that drove her to create. She'd close her eyes and visualize the moments that inspired her, the way the sun lit up the sky during a walk, the emotions stirred by a song, or the laughter shared with friends. By reconnecting with these sources of inspiration, she reignited her enthusiasm for painting, reminding herself that art was not just about the outcome but about expressing her innermost feelings and experiences. This practice of self-kindness didn't just boost her confidence, it also reinforced her commitment to her craft. By being gentle with herself, Sarah learned that it was okay to struggle, that her journey was uniquely hers, filled with its own rhythm and pace. She embraced the notion that every artist faces self-doubt, and that these moments are not signs of weakness but rather opportunities for growth and reflection. As time went on, Sarah found that her self-compassion extended beyond her art. When faced with challenges in other areas of her life, she started applying the same principles. Whether it was in her personal relationships, her job, or even her health, she learned to speak to herself with kindness. Instead of berating herself for not meeting a deadline or for a misunderstanding with a friend, she reminded herself that everyone makes mistakes. This holistic approach cultivated a deeper sense of resilience, allowing her to bounce back from setbacks with renewed strength. Self-compassion also helped Sarah cultivate a mindset of curiosity rather than judgment. When she experienced creative blocks, she began to view them as invitations to explore different mediums or subjects. Rather than viewing these blocks as failures, she saw them as essential parts of her artistic evolution. This shift in perspective turned potential frustrations into exciting challenges, making her creative process more dynamic and enjoyable. Ultimately, Sarah's journey illustrates that self-compassion is not just a fleeting moment of kindness. It's an ongoing practice that nurtures both creativity and well-being. By embracing self-kindness during tough times, she transformed her relationship with art and herself. Rather than being defined by her doubts, she learned to view them as part of her journey, enriching her experiences and fueling her passion. So, when you find yourself facing doubt or self-criticism, remember Sarah's story. Practice self-compassion. Remind yourself of your passions and the reasons you began your journey. Celebrate every step, however small, and acknowledge that growth is a winding road filled with ups and downs. By being kind to yourself, you cultivate resilience, confidence, and a deeper commitment to your craft, and that is where true artistic freedom lies. Moreover, Sarah soon discovered that the power of self-compassion extended far beyond the confines of her art studio. It began to permeate every aspect of her life, her relationships, her work, and even her personal growth. Initially, Sarah had thought of self-compassion as a tool primarily for her creative pursuits, a way to navigate the often turbulent waters of artistic expression. But as she practiced being kinder to herself, she realized its profound impact on her interactions and experiences outside of art. In her relationships, for example, Sarah found that self-compassion allowed her to be more empathetic and understanding toward others. Previously, she might have been quick to judge herself for perceived shortcomings in her friendships. If she didn't reply to a text right away or missed a gathering, she'd spiral into self-recrimination. But with her newfound understanding, she started to recognize that everyone faces their own struggles. Just as she was learning to be kinder to herself, she began extending that kindness to her friends and family. This shift transformed how she communicated. Instead of feeling defensive when friends expressed concerns or frustrations, Sarah was able to approach these conversations with an open heart. She learned to listen actively and respond with compassion, understanding that her friends were likely dealing with their own insecurities. This created a deeper bond among them, fostering a supportive environment where everyone felt safe to share their vulnerabilities. In the workplace, Sarah's practice of self-compassion also yielded surprising benefits. There were days when projects didn't go as planned, or when she felt overwhelmed by deadlines. Instead of berating herself for not meeting her own high expectations, she began to adopt a more balanced perspective. She recognized that mistakes were a natural part of learning and growing, both personally and professionally. When she stumbled in a meeting or felt unprepared for a presentation, she reminded herself that it was okay to be human. This gentle approach not only eased her anxiety, but also allowed her to take risks without the fear of failure. She started to view challenges as opportunities for growth rather than threats to her competence. This shift in mindset helped her cultivate resilience, enabling her to bounce back stronger each time she faced a setback. Sarah also began to prioritize self-care in her daily routine. Recognizing that creativity flourished when she was well rested and balanced, she incorporated moments of rest and relaxation into her schedule. Whether it was enjoying a long bath, reading a book, or simply spending time outdoors, these practices replenished her spirit and energized her creativity. By treating herself with the same care she would extend to a friend in need, Sarah nurtured her own well-being. As she became more compassionate toward herself, she also started to embrace the idea of imperfection. In her earlier days, she had been paralyzed by the fear of not being good enough, whether as an artist, a friend, or an employee. But now she understood that everyone struggles, and it's okay to be imperfect. This realization allowed her to let go of unrealistic expectations and embrace her authentic self. She began to celebrate her quirks and idiosyncrasies, seeing them as unique facets of her personality rather than flaws to hide. This newfound acceptance made her more approachable and relatable to others. As she opened up about her own challenges, she found that many people resonated with her experiences. By being vulnerable, she created spaces for others to share their struggles too, fostering deeper connections and mutual support. Through this journey of self-compassion, Sarah realized that growth is not a linear path, but rather a winding road filled with twists and turns. She learned to appreciate the detours and obstacles as essential parts of her journey. Each challenge she faced became a stepping stone, helping her to build resilience and fortitude. Ultimately, the power of self-compassion transformed Sarah's life in ways she had never imagined. It became a guiding principle that shaped her interactions, bolstered her creativity, and nurtured her personal growth. By treating herself with kindness and understanding, she not only became a better artist, but also a better friend, colleague, and person. So, as you navigate your own journey, remember the lessons Sarah learned about self-compassion. Embrace the idea that it's okay to struggle, to be imperfect, and to take breaks. Allow yourself the same kindness you would offer a friend, and watch how this gentle approach enriches not just your creative endeavors, but every aspect of your life. After all, when we treat ourselves with compassion, we open the door to deeper connections, greater resilience, and a more fulfilling journey overall. The journey of growth is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It requires patience, self-awareness, and above all, self-compassion. Every step counts, and every effort is valid. Sarah's story illustrates that success isn't solely about accolades or recognition. It's about embracing the full spectrum of the creative journey. So as you navigate your own path, remember to practice self-compassion. Celebrate your efforts, allow yourself to take breaks, and be gentle with yourself when things don't go as planned. Growth is not a race, it's a beautiful journey filled with ups and downs, and each experience adds depth to your story. By being kinder to yourself, you'll not only enhance your creativity, but also cultivate a more fulfilling and joyful life. After all, when you learn to love the process, the results will naturally follow. So, if you find yourself struggling, take a moment to reflect on your fears, redefine your goals, build your community, and practice self-compassion. Like Sarah, you can turn your struggles into stepping stones towards a brighter, more fulfilling future. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.